Yes, we're getting ready to read chapter 3 and some incentives to right living. Gosh, just absorbing some of this nice sunshine. Yes, what a perfect day, huh? Temperature, nice light breeze, it's beautiful. Let's see, chapter 3, where'd you go? There it is, page 25, chapter 3, Intemperance. Yeah, they are loud. Not too loud today. Just as I say that, it'll get really loud. The other day they were so loud, it almost seemed impossible. These clear skies. One big jet flying up there. Oh, it is so nice. Alright. Intemperance has an agency of evil in the life of man. Intemperance holds a conspicuous place. All through history, it has caused incalculable ruin. The advance of civilization and the growth of knowledge have not retarded appreciably its malign operations. It is not confined to any particular people or country, but exists more or less degree everywhere. No one can live in a world and escape wholly its blighting influence, for not only are those contaminated and injured who are themselves intemperate, but the innocent likewise are contaminated and made to suffer pain. Isn't that interesting? Contaminated in both parts where that's written. See how each line, and it's cut off at the same spot, and the M is smudged on both of them. What a coincidence. Likewise are contaminated and made to suffer pain, privation, and misery through its effects upon those near to them, and through its general effects on the race. The evil, therefore, is universal and concerns everybody. Alcohol is not a food, as some foolish dreamers would have us believe. Neither is it a medicine. It is a poison. It has been called aqua vitae, water of life. It is the water of death. That is a poison to the body and brain, is truth so evident and plain that anyone can understand it. It is an enemy to the human system, an enemy not merely to its peace and happiness, but to its very life, a murderous enemy, and the human system resists it as such. Everything in nature resists that which would destroy it. Man flowers open their petals to the dew, but close them. Many flowers open their petals to the dew, but close them to excessive sunlight. Animals put on a heavier coat of fur in winter to protect them from the cold. The plumage of birds frequently takes the same hue as the forest leaves about them, as if to hide them from the hunter. All this is according to a law of nature, which we might call the law of self-preservation. Through a natural instinct, everything tends to preserve and perpetuate its own life by guarding itself against all forces of destruction. The human system knows what is good for it and what is injurious, what will strengthen its life and what will destroy it. It knows a food from a poison. It craves for food and receives it with cheerfulness and satisfaction, but it repels a poison by every means in its power. Let us see how the human system acts towards alcohol. Apply alcohol to the skin, and what is the result? The pores are instantly closed and remain closed until the liquid evaporates or is cast off. In olden times, when an enemy appeared before the city, the gates were closed. That was the chief means of defense. In the same manner does the human system close the pores of the skin against alcohol. Again, take alcohol into the stomach, and what follows? A temporary exhilaration is experienced. There is increased energy felt in the nerves and brain. The ignorant mistake that for a certain addition to their natural strength coming from the alcohol they have imbibed. But the truth is that the system, in accordance with the law of self-preservation, is merely roused to unusual activity and an effort to repel what is known to be injurious to it. The enemy is upon it. It has gained an entrance, and a supreme effort is being made to cast it forth. What tremendous excitement, what rushing and hurrying would take place in this city if a hostile army suddenly appeared in our midst. Every activity and energy would be aroused to resist the invader. That is precisely what transpires in the human system when alcohol is introduced into it. The struggle to overcome and eject it begins instantaneously. It is a bitter struggle and is prosecuted with terrible persistence. It means life or death. Yes, I remind you, this book was written in 1909, and it's not to say that alcohol is not used safely and responsibly. Yeah, I know when people hear this, they want to debate and say, we don't think alcohol should be totally abstained from. I mean, if someone chooses to want to drink responsibly or have a little drink once in a while, that should be totally up to them. Yeah, I guess it's only a problem if it's a problem. Right, like if you're about to drive, then it wouldn't be drinking responsibly, would it? Or whatever. Yeah, there's a difference. If somebody wants to take a shot of alcohol as opposed to drinking NyQuil or taking a sleeping pill, I would say taking a shot's probably healthier than the other two options. I wouldn't choose any three of those. Yeah, using something has a dependency, depending on it, to sleep as opposed to just wanting to take a few sips that night to relax. Body's sore that day, maybe. Extra hard day of work, stressful. Could be right. A lot of different reasons someone might want to have a few drinks as opposed to taking antidepressants or sleeping pills. There's many other options too. People like CBD, THC, melatonin, chocolate. There's a lot of things which may bring someone comfort and ease, and for some it might be ice cream. Yeah, exactly. You never know. And to the one who's taken a shot one night, ice cream might be their fix the next night. And do you have to call it that? Just be what is, right? I don't know. Do you have addictive tendencies? Oh, there goes another big Jeff. Almost right in the same exact path. Wow, that thing went really fast. Lost our page. Human system resisted as such. Everything in nature resists that which would destroy it. Oh, many flowers. Can we already read this part? That's okay, we'll just reread that section. Many flowers open their petals to the dew, but close them to excessive sunlight. Animals put on a heavier coat of fur in winter to protect them from the cold. The plumage of birds frequently takes the same hue as the forest leaves about them, as if to hide them from the hunter. All this is according to a law of nature. Oh, we weren't even on these pages. We were on the next page completely. It means life or death. The fact is plain and evident that the human system does not want alcohol. It opposes it, fights it, struggles it, and submits to its presence only under absolute compulsion. The human system knows itself. It knows what is necessary or helpful to its growth and development. It knows that alcohol has nothing in it with which to satisfy any need. That, on the contrary, it is positively harmful and destructive. On the contrary, it is positively harmful and destructive. It knows that ruin and death go with alcohol, and hence its unalterable opposition to it. For that reason, I say that alcohol is a poison. To call it by any other name is to juggle with words or to betray sheer ignorance. From every struggle with alcohol, the human system comes forth greatly weakened and exhausted. It has less vigor and energy. Its vitality is reduced. This is the explanation of a certain depression or lassitude, which always follows the exhilarations caused by strong drink. The system is tired and worn out. It is like a soldier after a hard battle. Wounds and blood are upon it. Besides, it is never but partly victorious. The enemy is never wholly cast out. Part of its forces always remain within, and through them the system is permanently and irretrievably impaired. In one of your classes, you hear that a lot, like liquid courage. It would give them confidence. Yeah, I hear people say that a lot. Get rid of the stage fright. Yes, you hear that a lot with different things. It resists vigorously the first intrusions, but through the corrupting influence which alcohol exerts, the resistance gradually diminishes. Each intrusion draws forth less and less opposition, till at last the fight is abandoned. Nothing fights forever. Everything tires of a never-ending struggle. Thus the human system grows weary under the long strain, and finally gives up. It has not the strength or the spirit to continue the fight. It is overcome, defeated, conquered. It is a prisoner in chains, an abject slave. A person in such condition is a most pitiable spectacle. We still call him a man, but he has lost all that makes manhood beautiful, honored and respected. He has not even the excuse that he was driven to ruin by any outside forces. No, he is the architect of his own ruin. He is a self-made wreck. The person who puts much alcohol into his system is courting death. Alcohol kills as surely as the bullet or the dagger. But we hear of very few who die directly of alcohol. That is true, but despite the fact that they are not heard of, its victims are countless. There is a certain cunning in its methods which needs explanation. It works secretly and in the dark. Its blood-stained hand is seldom seen. It knows the ills that human flesh is heir to and allies itself with them. It prepares the way and opens the door for them. A corpse in a boat attracts sharks. They gather round in great numbers, their dark, fierce storms rising often to the surface of the water and into plain view. They are watching and waiting for an opportunity to satisfy their hunger. And the same way do diseases follow a rum-soaked body. They seem to feel that it belongs to them, and sooner or later it will be theirs. Alcohol makes ready the feast and invites them to partake of it. It wrecks the victim and then calls upon disease to finish the work. Such deaths are usually credited to this or that disease, but the real destroyer is alcohol. Of all classes of people, the intemperate are the most liable to disease and the least able to resist it. Hard drinkers are the first to be attacked. Hard drinkers are the first to be attacked and the first to fall. The odds are always against them. For them, the dice are loaded. There are many diseases which are caused they were probably recognizing that those who tended to drink more than others had weaker immune systems, were more susceptible when the flu came through. Seasonal stuff, hay fever, pretty much anything. Yeah. Now, on the contrary, if someone didn't drink too much, they may have a stronger immune system. It could save them. Hard alcohol kills a lot of bacteria, so could be a double-edged sword there. Yeah, it's probably better terminology for that. For them, the dice are loaded. There are many diseases which are caused directly by alcohol, and a vast number of others, some of them most deadly, to which alcohol is a powerful predisposing agency. To enumerate these diseases, almost lost my bookmark. To enumerate these diseases would be a tedious task. It is plain, however, that the common dangers to life are materially multiplied by the use of alcohol, and that life's chances grow less and less according as we give ourselves over more and more to alcoholic stimulants. Once a person begins to indulge excessively, he is surely marked for an untimely death. The effects of alcohol on the mind are as serious as on the body. The effects of alcohol on the mind are as serious as on the body. It impairs the mind through the body. The mind uses the brain and all its activities, and whatever injures the brain injures the mind. Now, the moment alcohol enters the body, it attacks the brain. It reaches the brain almost as quickly as it reaches the stomach. There is a momentary display of energy as the brain struggles to save itself. It is the energy of alarm and distress. But despite all efforts of the brain to protect itself, it cannot ward off the threatening injury and soon becomes partially stupefied or paralyzed. From this, it will recover in a measure, but its recovery is never complete. Its sensitive mechanism has been impaired, and it is never entirely the same again. It is like a flower that has received the first touch of frost. Let this ordeal be repeated often, and the brain will be materially enfeebled and degraded. It will lose its keenness, its brilliancy, its vigor. It will suffer especially in its higher and more delicate faculties. The capacity to entertain pure, noble, generous sentiments is lessened. On the other hand, the lower, vulgar powers seem in some way augmented. The man in us is extinguished, and the animal developed. Love, mercy, justice, kindness, charity, sympathy, these alcohol destroyers. Love, mercy, justice, kindness, charity, sympathy. These alcohol destroys, but anger, cruelty, revenge, envy, hatred, and other low impulses revive new life form from it. The three noblest powers of the mind are reason, conscience, and will. All three are vitiated by alcohol, are vitiated, vitiated, vitiated. All three are vitiated by alcohol. Under its destroying influence, reason is not merely temporarily, but often permanently dethroned. Alcohol leads ultimately to insanity, and a large percentage of the insane have been reduced to that condition through it. Every asylum of the insane preaches temperance with an eloquence which no words of mine or any man can possess. The more alcohol, the less reason, and every drop of the poison counts for something. On the contrary, yes, many argue just a little small toddy helps to enhance their, yeah, much like someone might say the same about other euphoric substances. Yeah, for some it could be sugar. Certain kinds of sugar. Yeah, you get like a little sugar rush or a bump. It could be THC, it could be caffeine. Yeah, you have stimulants and relaxants, and sometimes it can almost be the opposite, like give the opposite effects depending on the body chemical makeup at the time of day, biometric pressure, gravitational pull. I know, I have no idea. I mean, you can really just toss the dice, I guess. Well, I guess the ability to think about those things and decipher is a gift as well, right? So nice out. Counts for something. Conscience is the power of the mind by which we determine right from wrong. In conduct, it is always our guide. It is the lamp by which we are enabled to walk aright. In proportion as men drink, they lose this beautiful and all-important faculty. It is palside, palside, P-A-L-S-I-E-D. It is palsid. It is palsid or benumbed, and its once clear and fearless voice becomes uncertain or false. Right and wrong to them have little meaning. They do what is convenient. They follow blindly their depraved instincts. That is why God has declared that the drunkard shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. How can one expect to enter heaven when he has deliberately put on the only light which can guide him there? What about the buzzed? No drunkards, but we'll take some buzzards. That's funny. Vultures and ravens. Drunkards and buzzards. That's so funny. Another jet. Nice big one. That one's over a little bit than the other. Oh, there's two of them. I can expect to enter heaven when he has deliberately put out the only light which can guide him there. The same effects are yes, that makes a lot of sense. If you want to go and just take in, for the moment's time, someone in a drunkard state, it's hard to have a... Right, I mean, there's a big difference between someone who's had a few sips of wine and someone in a drunkard state. Well, you have to take body mass intolerance into consideration. Yeah, for someone like me, a few sips of wine and I'm buzzing. I don't drink. No, not at all. Once in a great while, maybe a few sips. Over the last, let's see, 2.5 decades, we've only had 2 hard alcohol sessions for class purposes. It's not something we like to do, but I think they got the point. Yeah, it's almost like PBS. Yeah, sure. I know what you mean by that, yes. Right, it's almost like you can almost tell when those barriers have been crossed, or there's a threshold, yes. Well, it's good stuff to learn about as opposed to being told to just completely refrain from something that a lot of people use daily and safely, or it's confusing, so that's why we think it's important to kind of have those open conversations. Of course, it's difficult when that's the whole purpose. If someone is going to a class specifically to quit a certain substance, and that's what they're there for, and that's what's being funded, and that's why they're getting help for that reason, and that's part of the stipulations or whatever, probation. Yeah. That's why we have those systems, and there's flexibility and extenuating circumstances, and it can be very difficult when you have a lot of people on a standardized mindset that don't seem to understand those things, and everybody's playing the favoritism and blame and holding others accountable, and they seem to lose scope, and they use poor people and those in vulnerable, lower class, poverty stricken situations as reasons and examples on other tiers with their funding and book writing. So I don't know, it's very strange. Yeah, that'd be nice, huh? I'm getting imprints on my hands. I shouldn't lean back like that too long. See how a little bit is good, but too much, yeah, I could do damage. But a little bit's a nice stretch, does me benefits. But if I were to stay like this, yeah, I'd probably do myself harm after a while. I don't know, it's just a guess. Where were we? The same effects are produced on the will as the conscience. A strong will is necessary to any man who would lead an upright life. In the face of temptation, the will is the only force upon which we can rely for victory. As the intemperate are without conscience, so are they without strong willpower. Alcohol saps the strength of the will and leaves it listless and wavering. It has no energy to stand up and pursue undevastatingly and pursue undeviatingly and pursue undeviatingly its own course. I know I'm not saying that word right. Undeviatingly. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Oh, it was hurting my brain. It has no energy to stand up. Hello. 2 flies at once fell from above. Where did you two come from together? Go. Go. Shoo, fly, shoo. Alcohol sap. Yeah, keep in mind too. Yeah, this was written in 1909. I'm sure they'd be saying the same things about many prescription drugs if they existed at that time. Yeah, you'd probably be begging for the alcohol. Holy crap, give them their whiskey back. What are you doing? I'm sorry. No, don't do that. Oh, goodness. Alcohol saps the strength of the will and leaves it listless and wavering. It has no energy to stand up and pursue. Okay, now we have bees. Okay, I can tell you don't want to sting me, but I'm still gonna go. Where are all you little thingies coming from all of a sudden? Those little flies. Yeah, you think a batch is coming through the wind. It's a good sign to go in before more come. Yeah, gotta put my socks on. Big, beautiful clouds. Okay, and the bee's coming back. Hello, Mr. Bee. Oh my goodness, there's probably some in my hair too, I bet you. Yeah, see these little flies? Can you see them? Look, there's another one right there. They're landing half dead. Look, there's another one. I told you. 4, 5. Yep. There's another jet.